Oh yeah. All eyes are on Jeremiah Smith. All eyes on Jeremiah Smith, right? Everybody's talking about the transfer portal. Everybody's feeling in love with the transfer portal. Everybody's loving the possibility that some of these players that's entering the transfer portal could be on their team, but make no mistake about it. Mario Cristobal, he's still working the high school ranks, and he's trying to get a big fish to come to Miami before the end of early signing day, which is nowadays the big time signing day. Now, there's a lot of smoke. There's a lot of fire that says, hey, Mario is working. And he could get a big flip, right? And I do believe that, hey, if we're talking about players that Miami's going after, you got to be looking at Jeremiah Smith. And I do believe that Miami's in a position to make things happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying things are happening that gives me, as a Miami Hurricane fan, hope. Now, if you'd asked me at the beginning of this year, this 5-star wide receiver, elite wide receiver, playmaking wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith, could he flip from Ohio State? I would have said, I don't think so, man. They got all the momentum. I've been watching every interview of Jeremiah Smith. I've been reading quotes. I've been looking for a crack in the armor. But throughout the season, it looked like Jeremiah Smith was 100% committed. But I do believe, as of late, dominoes have started to fall. So let's take a look at some things. Now, at the beginning of the year, as I said, this man was steadfast. He's Ohio State Buckeye. He's ready. He's tweeting them. He's tweeting "Go Buckeyes" and all that stuff. Then things start to happen, right? First of all, Miami and other schools, they don't give up on Jeremiah Smith, which keeps the door open. Jeremiah Smith takes visits to multiple schools, which keeps the door open. Okay. One of the dominoes that's going to have to fall for Miami is the product on the field is going to have to look better, right? Miami has improved, and when you look at the offensive side of the ball, say what you want, but you look at those wide receivers, Kobe Young, Xavier Restrepo, and Jacoby George, all had great seasons. Look at the stats. Look at the numbers. So if you're Jeremiah Smith or you're Mario Cristobal, you're saying, look, we are making it an emphasis for these wide receivers to not only get the ball, but to make plays. Just look at the stats. Okay, it's going to take more than that. You're right. Ohio State's a good program. They won big over Notre Dame. They won throughout the season, but you got to Michigan, and they couldn't beat Michigan. Well, okay, Ryan Day can't beat Michigan. That's not the end of the day. They're still a team that only lost one game. Well, the fan base got very loud. The Ohio State fan base after Michigan lost got very loud. Some of them wants to fire Ryan Day. Some of them wants to get rid of their quarterback. It's very loud over there. If you're an Ohio State fan watching this video, I'm hitting you with facts. These are not something that I'm just making up. These are facts. The Ohio State fan base is very loud about their not liking Ryan Day, them not liking Cal McCord. And if you're a young man looking to go to that school and you see the fan base rumbling and bumbling about the QB and the coach, you're hearing rumors that Ryan Day may leave, then you may have second thoughts. Dominoes starting to fall. Okay. This week, Miami flips one of Ohio State's best recruit in Justin Scott. He decides, I don't want to go to Columbus. I want to go to Miami. Oh, my God. Before that, I apologize. Miami does offer Jeremiah Smith High School's quarterback. They sent him an offer to come to Miami, so they're working on getting him there. That is a domino. If you get his high school quarterback, maybe you can work it to get him. It's just a little piece to the puzzle. But this week, Justin Scott decommits from Ohio State, comes to Miami. Once again, this fan base gets very loud. They get very disrespectful. And by fan base, I mean the Ohio State Buckeyes fan base, right? They get basically disrespectful. You look on the message boards, and they're saying stuff like this. I want to make sure I read it, right? Fickle children with greedy families. The education system in Chicago is quite poor. That's what they're saying about Justin Scott. Blah, blah, blah. It's ultra expensive. Talking about Miami. Too many dirty Cubans and whatnot, too. That is what people, Ohio State fans, are saying. And some of you may be saying, well, look, does that mean Jeremiah Smith is listening to those fans? Yes, because Jeremiah Smith quote tweeted a TSS with the palm face emoji. I don't know what TSS mean. Y'all got to let me know. I don't know what that mean. I was trying to think, what does TSS mean? I know it ain't good. So some people may say, hey, Grant, you're reading too much into this. Hey, Grant, Jeremiah Smith, he's not even noticing this, but he himself is commenting on it. Then when you look at his Twitter, he's went to private. He's taken down his Ohio State stuff out of his Twitter. So dominoes are starting to fall. By Mario getting Justin Scott, I believe that's big too. Because now Justin Scott, getting momentum for Miami, can say, hey, Jeremiah, come with me, dog. Come to the U. And I'll tell you this, guys, people are like this. Nobody wants to be the first person to do something sometimes, right? So, like, let's say it's raining outside. The first person may say, I'm not going outside because it's raining. The next person may say, I'm not going either. But then the third person say, forget it. No umbrella. I'm not afraid to get sick. I'll go outside. Then that encourages the next person to do it. So maybe Jeremiah Smith was thinking about going to Miami. And then he was like, I really don't want to flip, have all these fans going crazy, having all the stuff. But then Justin Scott does it. And it gets Jeremiah to thinking, maybe I should too. Now, dominoes are starting to fall. There's an Ohio State podcast that comes out that talks about kids choosing to go to Miami instead of Ohio State. Now, instead of talking about Mario Cristobal being an elite recruiter before we even knew what the letters NIL meant, before Ohio State saying, hey, guys, we wish them the best, we're Ohio State, you know, we're in the top 10 anyway, we're going to keep battling, we're going to keep recruiting, we wish Justin Scott the best. These guys go on their podcast and they start talking crazy, start talking about, well, maybe if they go to Miami, that means they family broke. Now, I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what they were saying. Once again, talking bad about a recruit. And let's be honest, everybody got a podcast these days. Everybody's in front of a mic these days. I'm in front of one right now. But this screenshot, I'm putting it on the screen right here, or this video, this had 247 Sports logo on it. Every kid wants to be ranked number one by 247. Every kid know 247 Sports. So they're not going to think this is just an ordinary podcast when they see that 247 logo up there. It's going to hold a little weight. That's just the bottom line. Now, again, some of you may be saying, but Grant, you're just assuming. How do you know Jeremiah Smith even saw the podcast where they basically said, if you're thinking about going to Miami, your family's broke? Paraphrasing. How do you even know he even cared about that stuff? Well, because once again, he quote tweeted. Listen, I'm loving these athletes. Look, I don't condone athletes to tweet out and to do stuff like that. Like Herm Edwards says, don't press send, because a lot of times people are going to use it against you. But for this intel, I love that Jeremiah Smith quote tweeted. He isn't happy with how that podcast was talking about people who were thinking about going to Miami. More specifically, they were talking about Justin Scott, and then they were talking about they brought up Jeremiah Smith's name, and according to his tweet, he didn't like that. So I say all of this to say, for Miami to even have a chance at Jeremiah Smith, it was going to have to take some dominoes to fall. And you look at the way that Ohio State lost to Michigan and how public the fan base, the pressure on Ryan Day and Cal McCord got. You look at how the fans are acting on Twitter, which Jeremiah Smith noted. You look at how 247 podcast with Ohio State talking about broke families want to go to Miami and stuff like that. Jeremiah Smith notices that. You look at Miami offering Jeremiah Smith's high school quarterback. You looking at Justin Scott decommitting from Ohio State, joining Miami. And it makes you think that all eyes are on Jeremiah Smith. And I do believe Miami has a chance. Will they be able to flip him? I don't know. But I do think they have a lot. Their chances have went up since the beginning of the year. Their chances have went up since the beginning of this year. Miami, Florida State, Ohio State. He's going to go to one of those three schools. And we'll find out. But let me know what you guys think. I'm out. Peace.